Clickety clackety.
Clickety clackety.
You want to hit us off, start us off, get us running?
Yeah, sure. This one's mine, I guess, and a little bit. All right. Well, I'm Eddie,
I'm Eugene,
and we are.
the middle-aged barbarians.
That's right.
I love these mics. I keep saying it. I love it.
Yeah, my voice sounds very rich in this.
Yes, very sultry.
Yeah, maybe
words I don't use very often.
sultry. It's a very good word, like your.
Yo.
Oh, well,
Mom. Yeah.
No. That could be
Sorry.
cultural appropriation, maybe.
I recognize no culture. No.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway.
Speaking of culture, that actually kind of segues into what we wanted to talk today. So, I mean, as you can see, of kind of the abstract theme of what I want to talk about with Eugene today, this is more of my kind of topic, so let's go with that. I've been thinking, a lot of fantasy tends to go the Tolkien route, the epic adventure, going on a mystical, magical quest against the big bad and going towards there. But does everything have to be that way? And what alternatives do we have to that? Because it's also, a lot of the times, it's also very Eurocentric, very thinking about Tolkien is basically Nordic myths adapted to a little bit of the Western English countryside. So, I don't know, maybe fantasy has something more to offer. And what could we do with this? So, I don't know, do you have any thoughts of that? Of any particular franchises that are a little bit different in their fantasy that the usual sword and sorcery kind of thing?
I mean, it's funny you should mention. No, there was something that I looked into a little while ago. You know, we've had celebrations going on these past couple of weeks,
course,
and we mentioned that they were coming out with different adventures and official campaigns and stuff. And there was a big Vecna-centered one. And it's funny that you talk about, you know, the whole Tolkien-esque kind of thing of the epic adventures and retrieving artifacts. And, I mean, you didn't say retrieving artifacts, but that's what I infer when I hear.
Oh, yeah, of course. The evil ring.
You have to take the ring to this far-off place that can only be destroyed under certain conditions.
Only the chosen ones from the party can do it.
Well, of course, only them.
Only them, yeah. No, you cannot go with an eagle and just, for instance.
Yeah, Clerks 2 was great. I love that, man. That was a great reference from that movie. So I was reading up because they had announced a couple of details coming out with the new Vecna thing. And, you know, we've mentioned before, I talked about like Loki and multiverse and all that kind of stuff. And it seems like they're taking D&D down that route in this particular instance. Because apparently the evil group, the Axis of Evil, or whatever you want to call them, is putting together like this artifact that's going to destroy the world. So the chosen players are the only ones that can band together and recover the 7 pieces of a staff, which apparently is an old magical item.
Yeah, the Staff of the Seven Winds, I think it's called, yeah.
Yeah, the 7 thingy with the things.
The Wind Lords, I think it's called, yeah.
Remember back in the day, a long time ago, when we actually started playing at that comic shop at the mall?
Yeah, of course.
What was the mission that we had to do there?
Oh, well, I don't know, some BS because
we had to retrieve the weapons of the gods.
And grab it to us.
Each of our characters had to recover a certain artifact. And
since I was a wizard, there was a book for me.
You got a book.
Which is kind of the screw you, damn DM. I mean, book.
You like paper? Here, take this piece of paper.
Yeah, I'll smack the evil guy with my book.
And I was playing a cleric back then that was some kind of a fire deity, and I think it was a spear. It was
you got a spear.
But it turns out that the other party that was running the campaign parallel to us was a cleric, and the cleric also got a spear. So I think the guy just had like basic interchangeable artifacts for each one. It wasn't specially tailor-made for your deity or group or whatever. But what we're talking about is it's always been like a cliche amongst the adventuring that you have to go out and find something of great power that apparently nobody's gotten before, or that only certain people can get, and use that to do something even bigger and destroy something bigger. So it's kind of cool because they have you go into different planes within the D&D world. I think the one that gets me more excited, and I know I sound like a broken record, but there's even mention of having to go to Ravenloft and having to steal one of the pieces of the staff from the treasury or the vault at the castle of.
Stratvan Sarovic.
Yeah, I was gonna say Baron Singir. That's
Speaking of MTG, yeah.
that's my brain fart.
I
Yeah,
mean, kind of all the Dracula substitutes are kind of similar.
no, but goddamn, I was gonna say Baron Singir again.
No, Strahd.
Strahd is special. Strahd has his own tragic story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's archetypes. Speaking of which, but
Yeah, so you have to go around and you have to steal these bits and pieces. So your, let's say, this thought idea, this exercise and thinking about what to do outside of that pre-established box is interesting. I don't know. It's
yeah, for instance, I'm reminded of, I don't know, why not work more politics?
yeah.
Yeah, Eugene Silence is telling.
Well, I mean, at least for me, and I'm the power gaming murder hobo character in the group. So politics is kind of like what the guy does that starts to bother me and makes me want to do things that I shouldn't be doing.
And start the violence.
Yeah, The Gamers, great movie. We've recommended it a ton. The part where the bad guy is giving his speech and then the dude just whips out his bow and shoots an arrow and he's like, "Wait, I haven't finished giving my speech yet." So they go back a little bit in time, and the guy's waiting, and the bad guy keeps spearing. He just freaking shoots it again. He's like, "Come on, man, I wrote this, let me speak it, let me do it." And then finally, the third time that he shoots, he tells, "I shoot the bad guy again." He's like, "All right, you know what? Screw it, let's go." Boom. And he brings out all the troops and everybody.
The fight starts.
There's a big fight and stuff. So that would be me. To go outside of that, that's crazy, man. There was actually, I think I shared it in our chat a little while ago. I saw I think it was a Kickstarter for like a design for a campaign that has to do with what happens after the adventure. And I thought that was actually kind of cool because it was talking about maybe not politics, but a more social aspect. What I took the most away, I didn't really go into depth into reading it. It was behind a paywall, but like making players making their tavern or becoming NPCs maybe in a way, kind of, which I thought was actually interesting.
Yeah, how to adapt into a town, maybe. Kind of sort of Animal Crossing experience, the relaxed aspects of being on the town, just doing your thing, and the drama is that there's not enough meat. I don't know.
I mean, funny enough, the older editions of D&D, I remember, got to a point where they weren't actually about going out and doing the battling or doing the fighting. You would have your little realm, and you would have your servants, and you would have your followers and your knights and people that you would send out.
And kind of, I remember that. And kind of the battle came to you a lot of the time because since you were a king or a lord or something of the sort, well, challengers came to you for your rule.
Yeah, because you'd have henchmen and people that okay, well, I need send you out so you can take these riches from somebody else and bring them back, and it turned more into this kind of socioeconomic, political gaming sphere.
Well, that's very interesting. But also something else I wanted to ask. I mean, remember, as we've told you, we're here in Mexico. Different aesthetics as well, I think, is another path that we haven't explored that much. Magic has done it a little bit. For instance, a couple of settings are based, rather than in Celt or more Anglo mythology, some other sort of mythology, like ancient Greece, prehistorical. I don't know. How you think that will work out in your experience with players then?
Well, I mean, as long as you have a DM that's fluent in that theme, I guess would be a way of saying it. Like, I'd have to know. Like, I'm not just going to say, all right, I want this to be in
ancient Japan.
Right. I mean, I'd have no idea. I'd have to do a lot of studying, which wouldn't bother me if I was into it. But even if you go into like Asia, there's all all different types of origins and cultures and rituals and deities and stuff from one province to another. Even the same islands of Japan weren't all
Yeah,
one
where,
group.
yeah. For instance, they knew who were very forgotten.
Well, the people of Okinawa that were subjected by the capital Japans and you know
Yeah,
they,
the Korean immigrants that eventually came. Yeah, that whole thing has a whole system that could be adapted.
and even if you go like farther west and you go into the like the Russian, Siberian, the Mongols, or that's where they were from, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I
that's
may be
correct.
saying something stupid. I don't know.
No, well, there's China, Russia, and sandwiched between them, it's Mongolia.
Right. So like even that area would be a more savage, from what I remember hearing about those stories, kind of interaction.
Well, even today, I think Ulaanbaatar, which is the largest city in Mongolia, has less than 1 million inhabitants.
Wow.
Like Merida, which is like a tiny city in Mexico.
Well, I mean, we mentioned the Ishalan Mastika kind of thing. There's a whole fountain of riches south of the border of the U.S. that is hardly ever taken into consideration.
Yeah, and even if you do a mix-up, like a mashup like they did in Ixalan, you can be a little bit more specific sometimes. Yeah, a little bit more Mayan, a little bit more Aztec, a little bit more...
Oh, and I'm sure there's a lot of pre-Hispanic cultures down below the Peruvian line that I have no idea.
Yeah, the
other than
Inca,
Mayas.
the Taínos, which were kind of extinct, and they didn't leave record, but those are the native peoples of your land.
I think it would be interesting, and I wouldn't mind playing sometime. Oh my God, I'm gonna say something real dumb, and I hope I don't. Like Samoan.
Oh, that would be interesting, like Micronesian.
Yeah,
Coast.
like down there with all the
And
different islands
And more focus on ships
naval.
and very naval. That would be very cool.
It'd be interesting. It'd be something different.
Yeah, you'd have to learn the rules for fighting on ships because there would be that much dry land to fight.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. Have you ever read Wizard of Earthsea, or you know about that tale?
No.
That book? Oh, it's a very cool fantasy book. That's also something I wanted to talk about when I talk different fantasy. It's basically part of the premise of the book is that magic, well, for starters, it's a different magic system. It works with learning the true name of things.
Okay.
So it's a very mystical, hippie kind of thing. But the main thing is that Earthsea is like small islands, and most of it happens at sea.
Earth, Sea? Is that?
Earthsea, yeah.
I'm thinking like from the Avatar movie, like that part where it's just a bunch of islands floating disconnected. Like
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, like the largest city is like 20,000 people, and most people live in really small islands. And people,
Oh my God, you just reminded me of Legend of Zelda, the Skyward Sword. I don't know if you ever got into those.
no, I haven't played it.
Yeah, it's like the whole land is underneath a cover of clouds and fog, like the mainland. But these people all live like the original Highlands. It's kind of like the way they did it back then. They all live in this small island. It's maybe like 100 people, exaggerating, but they're the ones that have like the goddess statue, and then everything takes place underneath. So you have to drop down below the clouds and figure out
How
the
to
stuff
move.
that's going there. Yeah.
Oh, so that's interesting. We're seeing something different. Perhaps some differences in movement if we change a little bit the traditional fantasy, because rather than just walking around, you'd have to jump down to the depths or move around at sea.
Yeah, that party I was running with the new players. It's funny because when we were in character creation, one of the players, she's like super into Dune.
I like her already. Yeah.
So when we were talking about, because she's never played D&D, she had no idea what the classes were, the races, and how that all worked. And so I was explaining, and then I'm like, well, what do you like? So then she starts talking to me, which is alien for me, which is the Dune and the way the magic works there in spice or something.
Yeah, the drug that gives you prescience. It gives you future sight, so to speak.
So it's a drug.
It's a
Okay.
drug, yes.
I will sit down and watch those someday.
Yeah,
maybe.
do watch the movies and do ask me, because when there are, I mean, my other friends that went to see it with me, they were like, I don't get this. Yeah, I'll explain. It's this, and this. I mean, the movie is
check
really
it with
good. It works as a story, but there are a couple of things that you're like, what's the deal with this?
All right. So then she was talking about Freeman,
Freeman, yeah.
And I had no idea what she was talking about, but from her, I was like, well, if it's a pact with an outer world presence, then
Like a
warlock
warlock.
or something, and trying to figure out how to
Yeah,
adapt
it kind of makes sense though. Yeah,
to
well,
her.
Warlock does work because the thing with Dune is that the prescience you can enter sort of a pact with your genetic memory,
Okay.
like the knowledge of your ancestors. I don't know if there's a Warlock pack for ancestors. I think if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
But, well,
Something like that. Okay.
you can turn it around into the
If
ancestors.
it's not, it could be.
Yeah.
It is now. It is right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the point of aborting this sort of new inspirations. Yeah. What did she end up doing?
She became a rogue.
A rogue?
But I think she wants to go down the arcane trickster path.
That does make sense as well.
So I kind of like pushed her down that way. I'm not sure the arcane trickster or there's one that has to do with like ghosts and stuff. I forgot the name of it right now, which was kind of cool. And I'm running well, I had spoken about the inspiration from Delicious in Dungeon and the way it's
Yeah.
like this whole ecosystem within a dungeon that's apart from the real world, and it has different rules for time and stuff, and traveling was one thing that I implemented because I tried to idea like if they're going to be delving down and down and down,
Something happens, the deeper
they're going to
they
have to go up and up and up and up if they want to go back to the city and stuff. So I basically just did like a teleport system, and there's no fundament in any of the rule books or anything.
but they just go up if they want to.
I managed to like kind of like push them into looking for secrets and stuff. So I had them find a secret chamber within a secret room, and they found this pedestal with a magical source of light that inscribed in their hands an ancient rune. That casually is at the beginning and the end of each of the levels of the dungeon. So I gave them a fast travel option. So if they need to go back out, they just try, oh, we're going to go back to the entrance. All right, you got to find a portal first. You can't just go anywhere. You have to stand. Kind of like a Kingsfield nod back to when you had scepters and rods and waypoints and kind of things
Oh,
like
that's
that.
interesting.
Just to make it a little more quick, because then it's like, oh, well, you have to schlep your way all the way back up.
Yeah, even if you do it like with ellipses and you say, oh, it just went up, it just went
Yeah,
down.
make it a little more,
More magical as well.
yeah. But I mean, alternate fantasy settings.
Yeah, I'm also reminded of part of what gave me a question. Did you ever saw the movie The Adventures of Baron Munchausen?
I know I saw it.
You don't remember
I
anything.
have very bad recollection. All I know is that there was some dude that seemed to be always running or always moving his feet.
Yeah, they were kind of original
Super,
superheroes, and in a way. But it's the Baron Munchausen. I mean, you're a professional mental health specialist. You know the Munchausen syndrome.
Wink, wink. No, yeah. Okay. But what? I don't remember what that had to do with the movie.
Well, it's the same guy that the name of the syndrome is based on. He was supposedly, because he assures everybody that all of his stories were very, very true.
Okay.
He was supposedly like a famous fibber, and he told like amazing stories during the war against the Turks,
Okay.
including riding a cannonball. Like he just jumped on top of a cannonball and he rode like through the walls. And he told about the stories about his very talented servants, like the strongest man in the world who could carry the whole treasure of the Sultan.
I have to rewatch that.
But it's kind of whimsical rather than
Oh, it's
violent.
the Monty Python crew, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Monty Python style. Yeah, more humorous.
It's Terry Gilliam, I think, is in there.
Yeah, it was directed by Terry Gilliam. Yeah, and none of the actors. Well, no, the Running Man is one of the Monty Python guys. I forgot whom, but
I think it's the guy that plays Lancelot in The Grail.
I think he
It's
is.
the
Yeah.
same guy,
Yeah, I think he's him, and the rest of them they're other
I
different
can
characters.
just imagine people listening to us and just like, how can you not know their names?
I mean, we could check, but it slows us down, and it takes away from the texture of the conversation.
This is all natural, man. This is all natural.
We should get the evil producers here to check that stuff for us.
Yeah, we got somebody sitting over there in the corner to look up
Just
facts.
waiting and popping up a screen with it.
They actually started doing that there's a podcast I love listening to. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Sorry, as per usual. A hot dog is a sandwich.
Hot dog is well, it's an interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's based on riveting culinary dilemmas. It's actually like an offshoot of a show called Mythical Kitchen, which in itself is an offshoot
Oh
of
my God.
Mythical Morning. I don't know if you ever saw Mythical
No,
Morning
no.
with Rhett and Link. It's a fun show. They've been going on for years. It's great. So there's this one guy named Josh he used to do like the cooking for the show because he had to eat like weird things and then I mean the guy is very charismatic, so he managed to branch off and do the Mythical Kitchen where they do different cooking things, and then the show itself is called The Hot Dog is a Sandwich. And at the beginning it was just him and his co-host, Nicole. And then I've noticed in the last maybe 10 episodes, maybe a little bit before, there's a third character, which is like the producer kind of character. So they'll be talking and they'll be, hey, can you fact check this for me? And then the dude knows a lot of facts and he's always like talking about very, very odd, specific things in the culinary world. And then it even gets to a point where Nicole looks at him and is like, dude, she's not here to look up stuff for you. That's not her job. Stop asking her stuff. He's like, oh, it's all right, yeah, look it up. And then she'll eventually look it up for him. So, yeah, that's a good idea. We need to get
One of the producers here.
Yeah, man, slap him down. He doesn't have to be on camera.
No, of course not.
You don't want him on camera. He's not pretty enough to be with us here on camera.
They're not that good looking. No.
No. Just the finest for you. Anyway, I've always been a fan of the modern setting. I've always been a fan of the
Cthulhu style myth is...
I've never been able to play because I've never known anybody here that would run that kind of a game. And I mean, modern we played, and I think you ran a campaign. I think I ran.
You ran your
sometime.
ones. Yeah, mine was with a little bit of fantasy as well, but yeah.
That was so. I mean, like maybe like a dark city.
Yeah, kind of a weird, closed-off world would make sense. Yeah, because I could imagine even a character from the Dark City universe. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie because it's kind of old and very, very good though.
I love that movie.
Yeah, but it's kind of this weird 1920s substitute that has these monsters that change at night, change everything that happens in the world. So you have like your regular life, but it's not so regular. It's very, very unusual. And it's
like,
night.
Like every day or every week or something, they would just reorganize everything. And there was even like a montage scene where the guy was awake during the process because usually they knock everybody out. And it's like a social experiment with the people. It's a very dark, very noir kind of setting. And he would see how, like, the dude sitting at his little modest table with his wife and kid, all of a sudden, they change everything. And it's this huge apartment building, and he has a very lavish table.
He's a millionaire. And the guy that was a bus driver on the previous day now becomes the whatever. Yeah, it changes. Yeah, it's very cool.
That's an interesting movie. But, like, I mean, that would be kind of hard...
Yeah, it's kind of
keep that story mythos or whatever you want to call it in the game, but the setting I think is great.
Do you know what makes sense? And perhaps it's a way to explore more of the idea that I have of watching some other more different, more whimsical sort of adventures. It would be pretty cool for a party, like a regular D&D party, to arrive to this world.
Are you isekai?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it could make sense, like a little bit of isekai. Yeah, sure. I mean, Ravenloft's mists make sense too. I mean, actually,
it's isekai before isekai was cool.
Yeah. For you who don't know what isekai is, which would be like the two people around here.
I mean, I honestly I only know because I hang out with a bunch of otaku
guys. Yeah. Well, basically,
it's not me. I'm just otaku adjacent.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not no, that's not me. Goblins! Nah, man.
Yeah, but isekai is this narrative of people from either modern areas traveling to different worlds or people from different worlds traveling to the real world, so to speak.
Yeah, you go from one place to another and you're a different person, but you have like all your experiences and your knowledge from the other world.
And that contrast does interesting stuff.
Did you ever see My Uncle from Another World?
I saw a couple of episodes, haven't kept seeing it, but I should.
I love that show. It was great. Watch that one. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, speaking of otaku,
it's an old guy that used to play Sega.
Yeah, I've never known people like that.
No, just the guy in front of you.
Who had a Saturn.
No, I didn't.
Oh no, Neto had a Saturn.
I had the Genesis. He had the Dreamcast.
Oh, the Dreamcast, yeah.
The Saturn was in between. I had one, but I didn't bring it to Mexico with me.
Yeah, you showed us that you played that with the little fairy guy that flew. That you had that game, I think it was for Saturn.
Little fairy guy that flew.
I don't know, man. It's like a guy that flew, like was kind of Arabian themed.
Oh, Knights.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Knight. It had a weird controller, like a 3D
Yeah.
thing in the middle, and you have to fly around and pick up stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that game. Yeah.
So yeah, like Isekai would be kind of like maybe something you could.
Some way you could do this, yeah.
There was actually, I'll have to look it up and see if I can send it to you. Although I think I did send it to you. There's I think it's like a third party product that has you build your character from scratch. Like you don't use a class, all the class attributes and all the abilities.
Are decided by what you do in this scenario?
No, they're like divvied up by like a point by system kind of thing. So you have the options at first level to maybe buy one cleric cantrip and then one, I don't know, like martial ability, or you can like distribute, like they deconstruct, I love that word, all the classes into like basic attributes, and then you can just like cherry pick within a certain restriction how you'd want to build your
Or like
character.
like a tree of abilities, like
Yeah. Which would also like it will change up a little bit because you would break away probably from, oh, I'm just a fighter, oh, I'm just a cleric, oh, I'm just a wizard.
no, I'm very good with the sword, and I know a little bit of spells. I don't know bow and arrow.
Yeah. Or you could just throw everything into being like a, I don't know, just like well, you would like a more social
Yeah,
character, like a more people of face and
no magic.
nothing, no magic, no fighting skills, just your mouth and very very high charisma.
A lot of hope and friends to help you out with the situation because,
You better hope you can convince the dude with the big shield to stand in front of you.
yeah, for sure.
No, but even then, like you say, like maybe fighting isn't everything. Try to find something outside of that, which for me would be very difficult. I love a good fight.
Yeah, I'm guessing that that's part of the DM's talent to satisfy all needs.
You had mentioned at one point in time that Jimena, your significant other, was in a group that kind of did something like that. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was a female player, so it was also changes a lot of the expectations in a way because she told me that a bunch of them were really bloodthirsty murder hobos like yourself, but a couple of them also
Hey,
care.
that's not gender specific.
That is not gender specific, no. But a couple of them were like, oh, I don't know. Speaking of cottagecore aesthetic, no, kind of a couple of them wanted to. Oh, I would like to, the spoils of my triumph, I would like to invest them in setting up this little nice cottage at the town. And they described and they really liked that part of describing how they use their winnings to
I'm imagining like Pet Society, the RPG or something.
something like that. Yeah. They kind of built a little system the DM improvised a little system to do that, to like decorating.
That's like that other thing I was mentioning. The people who are all right. We're retired adventurers. What do we do now?
Yeah, and do the whole system for that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, in a way, it's a couple of rules. I think the main thing is that also as a DM, you cannot close yourself to that experience, but to the experiences of what your players want to do, because sometimes they want to do some oddball stuff.
I have a couple friends up north, up in close to the border, no Laredo, and I was asking them because they were new players and just starting to play. And I mean, I know them from online. You know, World is a wonderful place where you meet people that you'll never really meet. And I was asking how they were doing and what they were up to, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, well, we just moved into this town and we killed the bartender and took over his establishment." So I'm like, oh my god! But they were like working at the bar, and that was what they were doing. And
That's what they wanted to do. Work.
They wanted to kill the dude, kill the barkeep, and take over his establishment and run their business from there. And I guess they turned that into their hub and like their calm place, and they'd go back and.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That reminds me of. Do you ever see that? I'm guessing you haven't, but do you ever see that series Banshee?
No.
It's starring the guy who plays Homelander. I forgot. Anthony Starr's the name of the actor.
I know Homelander.
Yeah, Homelander. It's the same guy. I mean, that's how. That series you saw how he could be a really psycho character. It's basically this criminal that he was just paroled, and on his way to the town, he meets the new sheriff from the town, and the sheriff gets killed in a bar fight. The sheriff gets killed. He doesn't kill it himself, but on the same bar fight that he participates, the sheriff dies. He just goes, oh, well, I'll take his identity. He doesn't need it anymore. And then he goes into town with the sheriff's identity, and hilarity ensures.
Of course.
Yeah, it's really
Banshee?
good. Banshee, yeah. That's the name of the town, Banshee.
I'll have to look it up. It sounds interesting. And I like the actor. He is a very...
Yeah, he's very good. And yeah, the main antagonist, because I wouldn't call him a bad guy, because it's that kind of series. Nobody's a good guy on that series. Well, except for there's a transgender guy who's very cool. Guy or girl, well, non-binary character. Person, yeah, they are really cool.
Hey.
Yeah. But yeah, the main antagonist is an Amish gangster. A former Amish gangster.
Former gangster or former Amish?
Former Amish.
Oh.
Who is a gangster.
Okay.
And has kind of
took Coolio a little too seriously, I guess.
Yeah, it's very... And the actor is really good. I mean, it's...
I said Coolio, I mean Weird Al.
Weird Al. yeah, of course. Yeah, I was
That's
thinking...
what I'm imagining. Yeah.
I was thinking about that, yeah, Amish Paradise as well. Well, there are scenes with the regular Amish, because the town is near an Amish population. But yeah, the
So
main...
I'm thinking this is up north in the United States.
Yeah, I don't know which part of the state it is.
Like Pennsylvania,
It's sort of
Ohio-ish.
Yeah, some sort of like
I have
that.
family that live in Ohio. It's a very pretty place. They say
Yeah,
it's crazy, but it's
Oh yeah, that area was the series the town is very beautiful, but yeah, it has that because it has the adventure and the aspect because since he's a former criminal, people are looking for him, and he has like the sheriff duties and he has the criminal things as well. So
his responsibilities that he cannot.
yes. So maybe adventure goes to him. I'm guessing that's what happened with your friends and
Something like that, yeah.
the adventure comes to them because they're the
It has to.
yeah.
It's like Dungeon Keeper. Was it Dungeon Keeper? That was the name of the game?
Yeah, that's the name of the game. Yeah,
That was a great game.
that was a good game. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, now we're talking about beautiful scenic places in the series. That would be cool for maybe an adventure. Did you ever watch that show, Grimm?
Yeah,
That
I
was
watched it.
based on the books,
Yeah.
all the old stories, and
Yeah, the Grimm Brothers stories.
it was a cop in Portland. Everything was in Oregon. It was in Portland, Oregon, and that's where all these, like one of his best friends is a creature. I think they call it a bloodblad, which is like a werewolf kind of thing. You never saw it, did you?
No,
It was an interesting. It was an interesting
I've
show.
knew of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, and it's a cool way of how they can. I guess it kind of reminds me of that, like a kid's story. Oh man, I just lost the name. That they use like this little stone and they can see past the veil, and there's all these fey creatures that coexist, but they don't really see them. The Spiderwick Chronicles.
Oh
is that
yeah,
what that's called?
speaking. Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I know of them because of the artist Tony Di Terlizzi, who is like a D&D artist who also made stuff for that.
The movie wasn't that bad. The movie was kind of interesting.
But it's
They made a
more
kids
books,
movie.
right?
Yeah, but it's more like graphic or novels for like kids, young adults, or not even young adults, like children's books.
Kids, yeah.
And so it's kind of like that. There's things with us, but we never take the time to actually see and notice, and it's hidden because humans aren't always the best things. So they hide from people, they hide from society, but they're there. Because like there's the werewolf guy, there's these things called hexen beasts, which are like magical witch ghoul people, and like just a bunch of different like monsters from the stories and everything. So this guy inherits. He finds out that he's part of
the tradition or something.
the hunters of oh my god, are they called Grimms? Now I'm blacking out. He comes from a long line of people that hunt
These people.
these monsters, and keep society safe and everything. It's an interesting thing.
I'll check it out. Yeah, but now that you're saying that, you're just describing that also would make sense, even if the adventure is not that different. I mean, it's not the same. Throwing the ring at the volcano, then we have to go now to the frozen wastes and throw the ring at at the ice float or something, at the icy lake. You can also do that sort of change, I guess, in a way, with description or changing the scenery a little bit in space.
You'd have to decide how far away from the archetypes you want to get into it.
And how would you change that mechanically? Because on the frozen wastes idea, you'd have to focus a lot on
Survival.
On cold, food. There's no food. I mean, we're not walking on the Scottish Highlands or in New Zealand. Yeah, because
Yeah, there's a lot of See, that's the thing that may lose people's interest is when you get too mechanical or you
And
get
survivals.
too rules heavy or something.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting.
Or just do a couple of winks and then when just it's pertinent, just apply.
There, sorry, you reminded me, and I don't want to forget, and I've already forgotten. No, there's a podcast. There was a podcast story that was based on D&D that actually took place like in a frozen Arctic wasteland. That everybody that was there were part of an expedition, and they were like investigating the surrounding areas for biological things and geological minerals, whatever you want to call them. There were a bunch of different people that they were there, but then they lost power, like at the base where they were at, because something attacked them in the middle of the night.
Kind of like The Thing, the movie The Thing.
Kind of like The Thing, and they go out like they can't stay where they're at because they're running out of supplies and they're running out of water and oxygen, so they have to move out and explore. So they kind of go into this underground taverns where they discover remnants of an ancient society under the ice, but like they would have like carcasses or leathers up from different animals like walruses, and it was like a developed prehistoric society that was there, but there were other things that were still there. So kind of mix in that, like that
Survival
ancient
aspect
evil.
with.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that could be something interesting to run.
Yeah, and also the focus, because like you said, they weren't motivated for treasure or for.
No, they had to survive. They had to get out of there.
Yeah, and the original bit was getting knowledge. If they get knowledge during the adventure, that would be a nice extra right from survival.
Yeah, but then you'd have to have a group of people that,
They want this.
yeah, that would be a big.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated because D&D, in a way, there's expectations.
Yes, there are. But it'd be something cool.
It'll be something interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, a little bit waxing poetic about this sort of stuff. And that's what we're here for, to give you some ideas. Maybe don't even like do a whole new campaign that's very different. Maybe just a little sprinkle, like a little bit of isekai, just one. You go to a magic toilet and you end up in a parallel dimension that. Do you remember
But
that?
maybe they don't. Yeah, maybe they don't know that they're in a parallel dimension until they start
They start exploring a little bit more, yeah.
seeing that things aren't exactly the way they
They
remember
used,
them.
yeah. Yeah. That actually happened in one of my campaigns. And there's a magical toilet that sent them in a different dimension. A bath to be exact. Not a toilet per se, just a bath. And when they came out, it was different.
Yeah, you get on that magical toilet and it sucks you down, and
Everything
you
changes.
never know where you can show up with that.
Yeah, good times.
We'd love to hear what suggestions you may have or what ideas you guys have for like an alternative or variant.
World or focus to your campaign because, or your adventures. Maybe just one off, not just the whole campaign. Something different to sprinkle around there to change the pace a little bit.
Yeah, and if you have any sources or you know anything, put them down in the comments. Let us read a little bit and share all the knowledge that you have acquired throughout your years of playing.
All right, then. Well, I've been Eddie.
I'm Eugene.
And
We have been the Middle-Aged Barbarians.
And as always,
Remember to rage responsibly.
very responsibly.
Yeah, leave a like, subscribe, share us with your friends. As my old theater teacher used to say, if you like what you saw, share us with your friends. If you didn't like what you saw, share us with your enemies. The idea is just to share.
Yeah, I know him as well, so yeah, I know exactly the tone he said it.
Yes.
So it's hilarious.
That guy was awesome.
Yeah, he's still awesome. I
So-
mean, he lives close to me, so I run around him in the supermarket.
Oh yeah, you run into him at the.
Yeah, I'll tell him you said hi.
I haven't seen him for a couple.
And
years.
ask his phone maybe.
Oh, I have his.
Oh, you
phone.
have his phone? Oh, okay, cool.
Oh yeah, I've sold him habanero jam.
Oh,
I've been to
yeah.
his house. He's a great
Speaking
guy.
of plugs,
Yeah, no, we're not plugging any of that.
no, yeah, it won't survive the mail.
No, man, I can't stand up either. My foot's still shot. I mean, it's been a couple weeks.
Oh
but-
yeah, you're gonna need therapy and all of that.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress. We digress. We have been the Middle-Aged Barbarians. As always, rage responsibly.
Again.
Shut-a-da, and we love
Cheers.
you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Roll the dice!